Alright, what is up everybody? So, Shadow Scout 0013 here, coming in with another video, this time talking about Ahsoka. So Ahsoka's out, and she's great, she's good, and I am excited to see her on the table. Her speed 3 and being a Jedi is going to be absolutely awesome, and, you know, we'll just go ahead and get into it, but I'll go ahead and talk about the giveaway. This time it's going to be a $25 gift card, and so you'd be able to use this to get whatever unit you want on Amazon. And so just let me know what I need to do to get that to you if you win, and we'll hold that drawing. It's May 4th now, so it'll probably be about at least a month until the new one. So yeah, just make sure you get a comment in and you're a subscriber. Then we need to make sure that you head on over to the Discord, where if you are a member here, which is free, and I suggest highly going over there, if you comment a lot, your server level goes up, and what I do is I just take your name and I put it into the wheel of fortune for whoever wants to win. And whoever gets it, you know, I'll make sure that it's in the video in the very beginning, so you guys can see it, because I don't really care if it's at the end to get people to watch. If you want to watch, you want to watch. If you don't, then you don't, and that's fine. But yeah, so, you know, head on over here. If you've got stuff that you're interested in, and, you know, Alistair, you modified his list based on the Lando video, so kudos, awesome. I'm actually very thrilled and very honored about that, so I appreciate it. Everyone else, you know, if you want to head on over and get some insane lists, you know, Grant's going to also post some stuff from tournaments going on. And yeah, it is really, really good to get information from the Discord. So head on over there. And if you want to, head on over to the Patreon. We're going to get the videos early in the week, either that Sunday or Monday. And you'll be able to watch everything and help the channel grow. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it now then. So Ahsoka, amazing Ahsoka. She's speed 3 with jump 2. So she's a Mando in disguise. Well, not in disguise, I guess a Mando out of disguise with the fact that she's got no armor. But she has red saves. She surges to crit. She doesn't surge defensively because she's got deflect and Xian mastery, which we'll go over in just a second. She's 5 health and 2 courage, so she can be squishy. I mean, one bad roll and it's not gonna be that great. You can suppress her, you know, so that's one thing. I mean, she does have a command card that increases her courage by 1, but still you're going to be needing to be very careful about her courage. She is associate with Anakin Skywalker, so what that means is that you can have Anakin, Ahsoka, and Rex, because the associate is not going to count against you whenever you are trying to build your list with commanders. So that's absolutely nice to have. She's got deflect like normal. She's immune to pierce, which is a great, and then independent recover, which gives her a lot more options than someone who doesn't have, like another force user who doesn't have this, like independent recover at all. And so it's really nice to get this keyword on a Jedi or force user. And then Scout 1 is great. Almost everybody in Republic has Scout, which is good. And it's cool that, you know, that's a huge identity in Republic GAR. And I like it a lot. And so she's also got Xian Mastery, which again, I'll go over in a second. She's got Ahsoka's lightsabers, which is 3 white, 5 black, so 8 dice. Impact 2, Pierce 1. Really, really good. So let's go over Xian Mastery. So basically, whenever you use deflect, the attacker is going to suffer a wound for each surge to block that you get instead of just 1. So if you roll 5 dice and there's 3 surges, well, they are going to take 3 wounds because you are really good at that form 5, form 1, form 2, whatever form it is. I forgot. I've mentioned it in a few videos back when we were talking about the new units and when I was looking up Xian Mastery and what it would do. And yeah, I was kind of close. I'll go ahead and admit that, but that's okay. So additionally, when a unit with this keyword basically is the defending unit of a ranged attack, if it does not suffer wounds from the attack, it's not going to gain suppression. So if she rolls all blocks and 2 surges, no suppression at all, and the opponent's going to take 2 wounds. So this is going to be great for her courage value, but at the same time, it's going to be very easy for her to just get in melee and not have to worry about getting shot up a lot. So from playing Mandos quite a bit, and the flexibility that Speed 3 is, and with her command cards especially, you're probably not going to be out in the open very often. And if you are, it's because either it's like round 1, or you've just finished off a unit and your opponent's been trying to run everyone away from Ahsoka. So I kind of suggest thinking about it that if you do have Ahsoka and like Anakin, which I highly recommend together, then it'd be nice to have them pincer the table and, have a very strong unit in the middle, and then have Ahsoka and Anakin just kind of pincer their way towards the middle. And that way, there's really no running away. Because if you go from the middle, then more than likely, especially with just Ahsoka or even 2, they know that she's going to move in really fast. So she's also going to pair very well, I think, with long-range units as well as Anakin. So because Anakin's going to move people towards Ahsoka, Ahsoka's going to move people towards Anakin. If you've got maybe ARFs in the middle, that's a good idea. Or if you've got any kind of like charging units in the middle to where no matter what, they're going to wind up having to be defensive, then this is a good idea to have. So, and I'll go over a few list ideas with her so that way you guys can get some ideas. All right, so then let's go over the upgrades I think will go well with her. So, Force upgrades. You don't need burst of speed. She's basically got it on her at all times, so no need for that. Force barrier is great because if you're going to be around a lot of your units while Anakin goes and does stuff, Force barrier is really going to help keep your guys alive. And maybe even, especially with the big dice pools, taking 2 out is going to be very helpful. Even being around Anakin, if, Anakin is getting shot at beyond range 2, and you've got backup, and maybe you have Guardian, and then maybe you have Barrier, there ain't no way that Anakin's taking any damage. And so that's also really nice with Rex. If you've got Rex in your list, Force Barrier could be really good because then, if you're keeping her next to him, you don't have to worry about him getting shot because you'll have maybe backup. If you have Boyle, that's even better. And then if you've got, Force Barrier, you're going to be good. So I think Force Barrier is great, especially with Independent Recover. Pretty good. Force Guidance, if you've got a regular clone commander, you don't need Force Guidance. It could be good, though, if you need it, if you don't have a clone commander. But, yeah, I'd probably do something more for herself. Force Push, yes. Because of the free Independent Recover, she's going to get it back, and you don't have to spend that action to do it. You just can't give yourself an order, and it would really help her out a lot to get, if she finishes off a unit, maybe with her 1 pip, and then she makes a second attack against another unit and maybe finishes that one off, or maybe she finishes off a unit and she needs to force push somebody in, then that would be perfect because she doesn't have charge. Being able to move speed 3, force push the unit leader into base contact with you, and then swing. Force push is going to be great, and then if you don't give yourself an order, and you have improvised orders somewhere else, you can force push somebody off of you, and then speed 3 to go do some other things. So force push, I think, if you've got the points available, I highly recommend force push. Force reflexes, I definitely love a lot, because then this also will play into one of her command cards that, you can spend dodges with Jarkai to, fix your dice up one. So if it's a blank to a hit or a hit to a crit. So the force reflexes helps. And then with the independent recover, you're getting it back a lot. And, especially if she's going to be out in the open, you don't give her an order. When you do give her an order, she can get the force reflexes. That's the only issue, is the timing of force reflexes. If, force reflexes was like you get a dodge at the beginning of the turn, I think that would be awesome. So then even vigilance would be amazing on her, but again, it's so expensive. She's not the most expensive force user, so if you did have the points to do, force reflexes, vigilance, and even offensive defensive stance, that would play really well into her being a defensive slash making sure that she can do a lot if she's already tied up in melee. And so getting into melee is not going to be an issue. It's the staying in there, or it's the making sure you stay alive while you're there, because you're not going to get an order. So if you've got the ability to vigilance yourself a dodge for the next round, and you already have that, then especially you vigilance and then you do her 3-pip, or we'll go into it in a minute, but I think that force reflexes basically is really, really good. Hope, I feel like it's unnecessary. No one takes it. If you want to take it, sure, but I feel like you're just kind of wasting the force slot. Jedi Mind Trick could be good. I can see putting out suppression just to kind of help, but not really with her. I don't know. It's so tough. Sure, but force reflexes for 5 points, I would do over Jedi Mind Trick. Saber throw. Okay, it's really nice. So basically, with the saber throw, you're going to get a single rainbow at range 1 to 2. It looks like. So basically, what we're seeing here, along with half the dice. So I would assume, with the fact that we're looking at, if we go to her, 3 white, 5 black, you can choose half the dice, which would be 4 black. And then if you're also going to gain the chosen weapon's weapon keyword, you're going to get a rainbow as well. So it would be a red, 5 black, and a white. Am I missing something here again? I don't know. I haven't put on saber throw in a long time, and with this new addition, put it in the comments down below what you think. But it says the weapon dice for this weapon are equal to half of the chosen weapon's total dice, rounding up, and the attack pool gains the chosen weapon's weapon keyword, which is a rainbow. So maybe then saber throw would be great, but I think barrier is going to be really good, and force reflexes, push, and then saber throw. But I think she's going to be getting in melee very often, so I'm not sure if saber throw is going to come into effect all the time. But sure, why not? It's nice to have that ranged. For the command slot, improvised orders, if you don't have another commander who can take it, sure. But I think the best one's going to be vigilance, again, because she wants those dodges. And the fact that you can take underworld connections on her is going to be fun, interesting, to say the least. But I think vigilance will be the best, and maybe even lead by example if you must. Hope, Inspire 1, along with lead by example to give her Inspire 3, could make her a very inspiring, I should say, commander. And so if you wanted to go that route, sure. Like maybe you already have a strong Jedi and the only thing you're really looking for is a person to take off suppression, then by all means, that's fine. That's a combo you can take. That is. But vigilance is going to be, I think, the best. Now, the training slot. Endurance, I don't know if you're necessarily going to need, again, if she's not getting shut up that much, but hey, it depends on your style of play. Endurance could be really good because, again, she's courage 2, and she's probably not going to block every shot, but most shots she probably will, so you might not have to worry about getting suppressed all that often. So it's there. End of the Fray definitely is nice for defense. Again, since she's going to be getting into melee quite often, and maybe she has Force Push, then End of the Fray is going to be good, because then with Force Push, you can make it to where more units will be around you at range 1, so then you gain more Surge tokens, so End of the Fray is really good. Offensive, defensive stance could be great, especially for the turn that you're planning on giving her Dark High. Offensive Push is my favorite on her, because again, 5 black and 3 white are very finicky. You can never really rely on them. They're there because it's going to be good, but I've played so many times with Arcs and Black Suns and Pikes that blacks, you cannot count on them, but they will show up when they want to show up. So offensive push and an aim is going to be really good. On the hunt could be okay, because you're probably going to want to go after units with multiple health, but at the same time, with her dice pool, with the way that she is, I think that it would be best if Anakin went after those and she went after everything else to kind of thin out your opponent's army. So on the hunt would be not as useful, I think, as offensive push. Again, because she has independent recover. So you can use offensive push to get that speed 3 with an aim and then attack, and then, use force reflexes to get the dodge, and then spin your aim when you're attacking, and then you have a dodge while you're in melee, and then you have the ability to recover that if you don't give yourself an order. Overwatch, I don't think you're going to be standbying quite often. Protector, she doesn't have Guardian, so she doesn't need. Seize the Initiative could be good. Yes, you're not going to gain from the independent recover, but at the same time, if you've got something like, again, maybe the Hope, because you want to go with Hope, the Seize the Initiative could be good, because it's not like she needs to recover that. If she's got Saber Throw, she doesn't need to recover that. So Endurance. I don't think you need Endurance at all, again, because of independent recover, you're going to be able to get off all that suppression. So I take back the Endurance. You don't need it. Seize the Initiative, though, could be, again, really good. Situational Awareness, maybe, but I think you've got better options. Tenacity, always a good option. She's going to be wounded at some point, and being able to have 9 dice in melee for her is going to be really, really good. Especially if you're already in there and you can take that aim, and then melee, you're going to do a lot, especially with Pierce 1. I mean, that's going to be really, really good. And up close and personal, sure, if you're taking Saber Throw and you want to do up close and personal to give her that extra dodge, by all means, I think that would be awesome. That's a good combo, especially, since she wants those dodges. And so maybe you had up close and personal, Saber Throw, and Vigilance. That combination is going to be really good, because maybe you don't use that dodge, you get it for the next round, and then maybe you up close and personal again, and then you move somewhere else. It keeps her very mobile and moving around, but since she's only got 1 training slot, it's going to be very tough. But you have multiple ways to use her, which I think is very important and very healthy for her. So yeah, those are some pretty good options. Let's see, up close, Vigilance, and Saber Throw. 135 points. Not too bad, not too bad. You've got, Force Reflexes, Offensive Push. 121 points. Way cheaper. Force Push and End of the Fray. 154, so that's getting a little expensive. But, you're doing a lot with that Force Push. You could win the game with that Force Push. I've won the game with Force Push plenty of times, so I think that it's worth it if you can take it. All right, let's look at her command cards real quick. So, You Are Beaten is her 1 pip. You give it to a unit. So if you don't want to give it to Ahsoka, you don't have to give it to Ahsoka, so that you can gain that independent recover. So if you have Force Push, you want to go with a 1 pip, You Are Beaten, then you could give this to somebody else and recover that Force Push. If you don't need the Force Push and you have maybe Seize the Initiative, you could give this order to Anakin, and then you could use Seize the Initiative and give it to her. And then maybe if you have the clone commander, just a generic guy, you're still giving out an order to someone else. So there's lots of ways to really benefit from the fact that it's given out to a unit and not just her specifically. But regardless of who you give it to, Ahsoka Tano still is going to gain charge this round. If she defeats one or more enemy units this round, she can make up to 2 attack actions and may make a free move action during her activation this round. So when we're going in order with the way that this is, if she defeats an enemy this round, she can choose to make up to 2 attack actions. So she has to. You're probably going to attack. You're probably going to. Let's just say there's one guy left. It's Pierce 1. You make your attack. You get a hit. They don't have a dodge. You pierce it. All right, cool. Now you can make a free move action, and you can do another attack this round, because it doesn't say you have to make your 2 attacks back to back. It just says she can make up to 2 attack actions and then make a free move. It doesn't say and make a free move. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, definitely comment down below. But it just says if she defeats one or more enemy units this round, she can make up to 2 attack actions and make a free move. So you've already done 1 attack, and you would have had to defeat that unit in order to get the second attack. So why not be able to move and then get that second attack off? And then when Ahsoka attacks an enemy and an enemy unit with a melee attack this round, so not saber throw, but with a melee attack, after the attack is resolved, the defending unit that's possibly still alive can make a free move action and withdraw if they need to. So you could essentially possibly give your opponent the ability to move into range of scoring. So you might want to go with her early so that other units can help finish off that unit just in case. But yeah, they might just move into cover. So you probably want to finish them off, and you want to know that you are using this card to finish off a unit so that you can go make another free speed 3 move and an attack another unit with that charge. So yeah, so maybe you could move, charge, attack, finish off a unit, move, charge, attack, finish off another unit, or at least attack that unit. They're going to move out of melee with you. So then you force push them back into you. Because it's after the attack is resolved, they can make that move. So then you force push them back into you. So that way that attack, that free move that they did doesn't really matter. So that's why force push is going to be insanely good on her. Because when you do use this card, if you don't finish them off, then that's fine. That's fine. Maybe say that you attack and you don't finish off the unit. Well, unless you can only make the 2 attack actions if you defeat the unit. So if you attack them and you don't finish them off, well, they get to move away anyway. You don't make your second attack action. So that's why, again, force push. I can't really stress that enough. Okay, her 2 pip, which is a 4 pip, so you're definitely not going first with this one, is when you're building a command hand, treat it so it has 2 pips, okay? Ahsoka Tano is going to gain 3 dodges. So it doesn't matter if you go first. At the very beginning, after you hand out these orders, she's going to go ahead and gain the 3 dodges before your person attacks. If you've had vigilance and you were to vigilance that dodge from last round, now you've got 4 dodge tokens. And then additionally, she's going to gain Jarkai and lose Xian Mastery, which is probably fine because you're probably going to be in melee when you use this, or getting very close to melee when you use this, because you're not going to want to have to spend any time, moving. You're going to want to already be there, at least enough to where you can move and attack because you don't have charge. Or if you're already in melee, which is great, you're going to have 3 dodges, possibly 4 with vigilance, possibly 5 if you've got force reflexes. And then maybe you take an aim and then swing. Well, now you've got 5 dodges, which she's got 8 dice. So you're going to roll. You're more than likely just going to be rolling a ton of crits. So this is going to be even better against armored units. And with the Pierce 1, Impact 2, so possibly just all crits. That'd be so good to have. And so that's where, vigilance is going to be good. Force push is great for her 1 pip. Force reflexes is great for her 2 pip, well, 4 pip. And so there's so many options, good options. And then, like I said, force push and offensive push is going to be great for her 1 pip. And then vigilance and force reflexes, and maybe even offensive defensive stance. If you have force reflexes, that gives you 1 dodge, 3 dodges from the card. You have a vigilance, possibly dodge, which is 4 dodges, and then you take a dodge with offensive defensive stance to give you 6 dodges total. And then you're, again, rolling 8 dice, and then you have Dark Eye. Whoever she hits, she is one-shotting. So that's a possibility. Depends on how you want to build her out. And then her 3 pip. I go where I'm needed. 3 units. So all of her cards, give it to units and not her specifically. So that way you can really accentuate the fact that she's got independent recover. All right, so I go where I'm needed. Ahsoka Tano, she can make a speed 3 move. So that's in the very beginning. So if she's very far away, or maybe you are close to getting melee and something bad's about to happen, and you need to protect someone on a POI. All right, well, go backwards at a speed 3 move. This round, she's going to gain Guardian 3, disengage, and her courage is increased by 1. So now she's got courage 3. She's going to treat her maximum speed as 1, and her maximum speed cannot be increased. So if she's got immobilized tokens on her, it's really going to suck. But for the most part, you're trying to jump in close to a unit that needs to be guardianed, and you are going to, if you have force barrier and then guardian 3, and maybe you were able to make a speed 3 move into cover, behind a line of sight blocker to where she can't be shot right now, but the objective holder can be. Well, you didn't give her an order maybe, and she's already made the move. So now she doesn't need the order because she's safe. So now you give it to the unit that is on the POI, and then you give out one maybe to Anakin and then someone else or whatever. She doesn't really need to move. She's in line of sight, or out of line of sight. She's got the Guardian. She's got the force barrier. So now you've got it up because you didn't give her an order. So whoever you're trying to protect is going to be very well protected. And if anyone tries to move into melee with her disengage, it'll be great. Maybe you just move recover and get force barrier back. And then you can use force barrier and guardian again if you had to. And then next round, you don't give her an order. She gets force barrier back. So there's lots of really good ways to use this card. It just, again, depends on how you feel like building her out. And yeah, she's really good. It's going to take a little while to figure out how to use her and what to put her in, list wise. But I think we'll be able to figure all of that out. So now that I took up so much time trying to explain her, because she's a complicated character and there's a lot of crazy awesome ways to be able to use her. It's not just, all right, she's very defensive, use her only defensively, or she's very offensive, only use her offensively. No, she's a mixed bag, so that's so good. So let's go over a few different ideas. So here's a 501st, and some of these are thematic, some of them not so much, but I like thematic, and this is kind of fun. Yeah, Anakin with force push, force push, burst of speed, into the fray, and tenacity. You have Ahsoka with force reflexes, just by herself. You've got a clone commander with improvised orders, mostly so that he can hand out some surge tokens. You've got Ahsoka in there with force reflexes so she can be by herself if she needs to, without Anakin there. You've got 2 clone trooper infantry units. You've got 4 ARC troopers with medics and 2 ATRTs for 11 activations with 2 force users. Red saves. You can also use the clone commander to give the surge tokens to the ARCs if you wanted to. The ATRT has scout. The ARC troopers have scout. The Ahsoka has scout. Your clone commander and infantry and Anakin don't. Oh, sorry. Ahsoka's got scout. Yeah. Clone commander, infantry, and Anakin don't. If you were to bring Rex somehow, maybe you were to make room, then for the most part, Anakin, Ahsoka, Rex, and one of your clone infantry units could have it. You'd go down to 10 activations. So let's just see for a second. Let's see how this works, because it's a cool 501st theme list. You give recon intel to one of them. You got 20 points left. You give the only core infantry a clone medic, and boom. Now you've got 5 medics. I know nobody really probably has realistically 5 medics. I've got 3, so this wouldn't quite work for me. And I only have 1 ATRT anyway, so that wouldn't work. Maybe you do Barks instead if you wanted to. Oh, that's 65. Well, yeah, you could do Naked Barks and save yourself 10 extra points, and then do what you wanted with that. At some point I'll have to see if Bark speeders are going to be okay and good, and maybe how to use them, because you can't use them like you did before this entire change because of cover and the way cover works. But yeah, ATRTs are going to be okay because of the long range, lots of impact, and you have not really much impact anywhere else in the list. So yeah, it just really kind of depends. This is very thematic, in my opinion. The fact that you have 4 ARC troopers that can go clearly almost in the middle with Rex. You've got Ahsoka that can go on one side with maybe the clone infantry with the medic. And then you've got Anakin that can go, if he needed to, by himself. You're probably going to bring Anakin and... all right, maybe you bring Rex and Anakin on one side with some of the arcs, and then maybe with the rest of the arcs you go towards the other side. Maybe you use the ATRTs as line of sight blockers close to Ahsoka, so in case she needs to get behind the line of sight blocker, like I was talking about earlier, then you have a mobile one. And the ARC troopers can also make sure to help with the medics, either themselves or Ahsoka or Anakin or whatever you need. But with the fact that you have 5 medics in here, and you have Rex that can contribute if you decided to take his 1 pip at range 2, if he gets in line of sight and range 2 shoot with, like, he can contribute dice to Ahsoka's melee or Anakin's melee, which is very fun, very, very fun, especially with tenacity. Rolling 9 red dice, pierce 3, impact 3. Oh man, it's so fun, and it surges to crit. But yeah, this is a very thematic, very fun 501st list. I think would be great. But it kind of depends on what you'd like. Command card wise, I've gone with none of his and all of hers and Anakin's. So it's kind of just, what you want to do. But I thought that this would be fun. And I'll save this version. If you wanted to do the other one, then feel free. You know what it looks like. But I think this is going to give you some fun. And if you wanted to get rid of... No, never mind. No, I mean, improvised orders would be great to have. So maybe if you didn't have 5 medics and you only had 4, maybe put, improvised orders on Rex. And then let's get fancy. Again, let's give her the vigilance. And now you've got 3 points left to do with what you want. So maybe you put 3 points for impact grenades on one of the arcs and have them specifically go towards something. You don't really, maybe your infantry squad, your core is going to go just towards a POI, or specifically, in the very first round, they're going to do their best to try to keep up with Anakin or Ahsoka for backup, but then maybe break off, or Rex, and then break off. But, with Clone Captain Rex's scouting party, you can give every single unit in this list Scout 1 at least. So Anakin's going to benefit from scouting party. Captain Rex now has Scout 2. And then your clone infantry squad will have Scout 2. And then Ahsoka will have Scout 1. And everyone else will have Scout 2 or Scout 1 with the ATRT. So 10 activations. Everyone's moving up the board. 4 medics. What could go wrong? It's just a lot of fun. We have another one with Anakin. Same exact build, because I feel like this has led me to a lot of wins with the way that this is built. So I absolutely love it. And Force Push is definitely needed on Anakin, especially with the fact that, Tempted is going to be good. If you need to make a move because another unit around you is defeated, but you're stuck in melee and you've already made an attack once, then sure. But I think Force Push is really needed. This time I've got Force Reflexes and Offensive Push on Ahsoka. Improvised Orders on a regular naked clone commander. I've got Clone Trooper Infantry with Boil to kind of help with either Ahsoka or Anakin. And then maybe there's a round that, you need to protect somebody, and you've got, Boil to help with Guardian 1, and then Ahsoka's going to have Guardian 3. Maybe Anakin's on his last leg, and you are just trying to Guardian him like crazy. That would be great. You've got a Clone Trooper Infantry squad with the Clone Medic and the Shotgun Trooper. You've got another Infantry squad with the Z6, Clone Specialist, and Offensive Push. And the reason thinking behind this one is you've got a Z6, lots of white dice, which is great. You've got a Natural Surge on here, which is good. And then you might be able to share another Surge off of another unit. And then you've got a Clone Specialist that can give you a free aim that turn. And then you can move and take another aim with the Offensive Push. And then shoot. So free aim, Offensive Push, move, 2 aims on yourself. You have your own surge, and then a possible another surge. So you've got lots of surges and lots of aims. Next turn, maybe you recover, and then you use the Clone Specialist aim. And then the next round, you move, use Offensive Push. You still have an aim, and then you shoot. And then maybe the next round, again, recover, get an aim. So you're always, at least, instead of having to, anytime you recover to gain the aim from Specialist, you also are recovering for the next round. So you don't have to do it the next round. Next round, you can still move and gain an aim and shoot. So this is a lot of fun. If you didn't want that, then the DP-23 would be good as well. Because again, you're kind of mobile with this one. Every other turn, you might have to recover and shoot. But that's, maybe you're holding a POI. And the Z6 is at least range 3 and not range 2. So at least you're getting more dice at farther range. So that's why I think that the Specialist and Offensive Push with the Z6 is going to be really great. And then you've got 2 ARC Troopers with a Clone Medic and then 2 ATRTs. You're seeing ATRTs more and more because they're cheap and easy and efficient. And so you might as well combat it with another ATRT yourselves. And they're cheap enough. So I like them a lot. You've got, the Clone Infantry squad that can stay closer to the middle, like I was talking about earlier, if you're going to pincer with anyone, because you've got the Clone Infantry Boil that could possibly go with Anakin. You have Ahsoka, who could possibly go with the Clone Medic and the DP-23, as well as maybe some ARCs. ARCs can obviously go with Anakin as well. Clone Commanders can also stay close to this Z6 Infantry squad to give them and himself a surge token. So now you've already got 2 surge tokens on the Clone Infantry squad, and then possibly 2 aims with the Z6. So hopefully this squad right here will do way more damage than your opponent thinks. It's a possibility. And then your ATRTs can possibly go up into the middle and be line of sight blockers for the Z6. And then, the Z6 can, pop out, maybe get that aim, and then shoot. And then you just, next turn, recover, shoot. And then your ATRT then moves in front of them to block them and keep them safe behind line of sight. So you're just kind of making sure that you go in between the ATRT and the Clone Infantry squad, and go back and forth. So that way the next turn, again, if you need to recover, you can recover, but you've already recovered if you've done that last time, because you get your aim, shoot, move the ATRT in front of you, then you can move again. You've already got your Offensive Push recovered, and you just move them up like that, and then you've got lots of firepower that way. Lots of ways to roll tons of dice. So I like that little combo. That's been a fun little trick. And so next, we've got Ahsoka Tano with Force Reflexes. We've got Captain Rex with Recon Intel. So this kind of reminds me of the last season of the Clone Wars between Rex and Ahsoka, them two being together. That's what I really liked a lot. You wouldn't have clone medics, but what is a Republic list without clone medics at this point in time, since you can bring them all the time, everywhere? They're worth their points. I really hope they don't go up. I really want them to stay the same. If they go up and the sleeper cells don't go up, I'm going to pitch a fit. All right, that's going to be insane. But you got 3 infantry squads with clone medics. You've got 2 ARC trooper squads with the clone medic and emergency stims. So the thinking behind this is, and you've got 2. All right, so your ARC troopers, if you had 4 of them and you had emergency stims on them, yes, it's very expensive altogether, but you move, you get shot, you emergency stims. All right, you've got your 2 wounds that are come back next time. Well, now you've got enough time the next turn to go with them first, hopefully, and then they'll take their actions, take the wounds. At least they've lost it now that round. So now they can, other units can come and then clone medic them. And then when they get shot, they can emergency stims. And then next round, the clone medics that have already gone are going to go after the ARC troopers that just emergency stims last round. So now you've got Unit 1 takes a bunch of shots, emergency stims. Unit 2 comes closer to them, takes a shot. Next turn, Unit 1 goes ahead and shoots, does whatever it needs to. They have 2 wounds. That other unit comes over, medics them, and shoots. Hopefully, Unit 2 is now getting shot, emergency stims. Next turn, you go with Unit 2. They take their 2 wounds, and then the Unit 1 comes and clone medics them that round, because that's when the units are losing their minis. So it just, again, it's another stacking type maneuver. And so that's what the clone medic and emergency stims is good for. And at least you maintain all your dice during the attack. So it's really, 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 really fun. Your ARF troopers have a clone medic as well. So again, you're going to have 6 clone medics, for this list. I highly doubt anyone's got 6 medics, but if you are trying to proxy, feel free, please do it. This is a good time to do it. In your ARF trooper squad, along with your ARC strike team, is going to be definitely in the middle, especially if you're playing like intercept the transmissions or something. And you've got Ahsoka trying to go up, and everyone maybe is avoiding her. You have your ARF troopers in there and your ARC strike team. Range 4, range 5, you have Echo, a clone medic, and the ARF duo. So you have, 4, 5, 6, 7 black dice, 2 red dice, range 4, Pierce 1, critical 1, lethal. Yeah, and you've got lots of surges in case you do need them with the ARF trooper duo. So this is a very fun, I think it's a very expensive combo, but possibly a very good and lethal combo. And then, your strike team can generate an aim. And if they don't use that aim, then the ARF troopers can use that aim. So I would keep those long range stuff together because, again, that's where your lethal is. And so that's where you want those aims as much as you can. You can get them. If you don't want Rex, then obviously you could just go with a generic clone and hand out some more surges for these ARF troopers, so you can technically spin those aims for lethal. And with ARF troopers, obviously you have observe at range 3, which isn't going to come in handy for a range 4 and 5 unit, but at some point those will be useful, especially if you're going up against a heavy melee oriented list where all they want to do is press W. Okay. And then 2 ATRTs. Again, very cheap, very easy to fit in more activations this way. And it gives you a lot more impact, at least, with that. But that's just Ahsoka and Rex. So it's a fun way to bring back Rex. Why not? I think so. Okay, so here again, we have another 501st with Anakin with burst, push, and tenacity. You have Ahsoka with reflexes and offensive push, again, to make her a little bit more offensive in her approach. You have clone commander with improvised orders. You have 2 clone trooper infantry squads. You've got 2 ARC trooper squads with the clone medic and emergency stims. You have the ARF with the clone medic, ARC, and the ARF duo. And then your 2 ARC strike teams. So this is, again, what I was talking about earlier in the very beginning, where you keep the long range in the middle. So that way, when everyone is running away from Anakin and Ahsoka coming off to the sides and focusing inward, everyone's running into the line of fire of the long range stuff. So now they're kind of hopefully stuck, because then Anakin and Ahsoka are going to work their way towards them. And with Tempted being free moves to move in if a unit is defeated, which, hint, hint, use your strike teams and keep them as close to range 3 to Anakin as you can, because they're going to go down very easily, and they're probably going to be targeted because there's only 2 of them. So if you can keep your strike teams at range 3 of Anakin, it's a super easy way to get Tempted, like, in the first few rounds, like maybe round 2 or 3. It's the really easiest way to get that done. And then by the time that range or turn 4 and 5 happen, probably the infantry squad's going to be going around that time, or the ARC troopers could be going around that time. So you'll definitely be able to get it off later. But if you can make these strike teams very juicy and, set them up to be shot in enough time where you already have maybe Anakin on the board. So maybe you decide to divulge his 1 pip and give him prepared positions, and you try to give him an order, and then you scout up. The strike teams get killed. Now he's done a move, and then you go with him and you just double move. That's another easy way to do stuff. Maybe you move and stand by, something along those lines, and then you can move again. You wouldn't be able to charge, but you're all set for next round. Or you move, you stand by, another one comes into range 2 of you, and you do some stuff. It's very tricky, but yes, it is possible. And you still have 2 points. Do with what you want. 10 activations, 501st. Lots of fun with this list. Again, putting the ARFs and the ARCs in the middle. And then you have your 2 ARC troopers. Both of them can maybe go with Anakin. Maybe however you want to split it. But you've got a good way of doing that. And I just use all their command cards. And then some of the best, objectives that I've got. I don't know why I didn't put them on here. Close the pocket, because you've got speed 3, and you've got Tempted, and you've got free moves and stuff. So close the pocket would be great. Bunker assaults can be really good because of all of the special forces and commanders that you have. And breakthrough would also be really, really good. And/or even intercept the signals. I like a lot. All right, so now we have Anakin. Now we're gonna put Now we're gonna go with Ahsoka Padawan. So this is the upgrade that you can put in a clone infantry, or even the arcs if you wanted to, because she's got the capacity to just go in a clone trooper only. It doesn't specifically say core, but if you want to spread out charge, which I highly recommend, your arcs already have charge, so why not give another unit charge, and your action economy goes up, because now you have another unit that can perform a free attack action if they choose, or if they also have the ability to get into range. So yes, spread it out. So the infantry squad would be really good. So this is where she is going to give the unit block, independent dodge, and charge. So if you don't give this unit in order, they're going to get a dodge. You're going to be able to use a dodge for block, and so you're going to be able to spend most of your surges offensively and not have to necessarily worry about having to spend it defensively. And if there's a way to eventually at some point give yourself a clone commander, so maybe you didn't want maybe you didn't want 3 strike teams. Okay, this one has 3 strike teams. Let's get rid of one and go with a naked clone commander, and then let's give one of these strike teams a smoke grenade. You don't have to. You can give one of the ARC troopers an impact grenade, but let's just give one of the ARC troopers a smoke grenade in case they want to go first and there's not much cover and you need to put out some cover for yourself. Then fine. The clone commander here can give out some more surge tokens. He can take a dodge, so that this clone trooper infantry can share the dodge to gain block. So now You've got no order. You got a dodge. The clone commander maybe goes first and takes a dodge. So now you've got 2 dodges this round that the clone trooper infantry can use. And this clone infantry squad has not only Ahsoka, but an entire infantry squad, as well as the DB-23 clone trooper. So now, not only do they gain 2 black and 2 white, Pierce 1, Impact 2, Critical 1 in melee, as well as an extra 2 red, Pierce 1. So now it's Pierce 2, and you already have a double rainbow between just those 2 heavies, Pierce 2. So now you've got a normal Jedi Ahsoka from Rebels, but you have an entire squad, and you've got the ability to have Indomitable. So now your courage value doesn't really matter because you're rolling red dice for your suppression, so she's going to be able to do a lot. And with the fact that you have charge with Ahsoka's and the DB-23 trooper, you've got a lot of dice coming in you. I mean, you already have a double rainbow between the 2 heavies. Now imagine adding in an extra 9 black dice. Pierce 2. Whoever this unit is going into is going to obliterate that unit. Alright, so now you've got 3 ARC troopers with the clone medic and emergency stims so that you can really do that, staggering effect between healing and then emergency stims and then healing and emergency stims, and hopefully never wipe out a squad of ARC troopers. Hopefully these ARC troopers between impervious and emergency stims and the clone medics never die. And now you've got, again, 2 strike teams that can do a lot for Anakin in the very, very beginning. And yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And again, because it's the 501st, you only have to have 1 clone infantry squad. Why not make it a really good one? The only issue is that sometimes if your clone commander is going to be in range of this squad, they're going to get an order. So that's why I think that actually, let's just take out the clone commander and do another clone infantry squad. How about that instead? And now you've got 7 extra points you can give into the fray here. And then again, you've got the ability to hand out a smoke grenade again to these guys. Boom. You still have 10 activations. And the clone infantry squad now can just take a dodge. And they already have a surge token. So now you can already do this, basically the same thing that you were doing. You just take out an extra surge. You can't give Anakin a surge and Ahsoka the surge, but now at least they will have the independent dodge more than likely, more often, and you don't have to worry about trying to give this unit an order. And then you can use this clone infantry to help support, this clone infantry squad or Anakin or whatever you need to do. Maybe you didn't want this clone infantry squad, and maybe you just wanted to take another ARC trooper strike team, get rid of... Oh, you gotta get rid of more points. Alright, well, you'd have to get rid of 4 points. Okay, so that's where the end of the fray comes in. Okay, so let's just keep it how it was. 3 strike teams, boom. Whoop, not it. Yeah, 3 strike teams. Anakin, the clone trooper infantry squad, 3 ARCs with clone medics, emergency stims, 3 strike teams, 2 ATRTs, 10 activations. A huge clone infantry squad. I like this list. This one seems like a lot of fun as well. And I think that she fits in very amazingly, again, to the clone core. Alright, last list. I know these videos have gone very long, but hopefully there's a lot of information in these, and it kind of helps you out. Alright, so we have a clone Rex with Recon Intel. We have a clone Commander with Improvised Orders. So just your clones so far. You have Bad Batch with... Echo. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, wait, hold on. Echo. Oh, Clone Force 99. Got it. My bad. All right. So you have, Rex, regular commander, Bad Batch, clone infantry squad with 5s. So your clone commander is going to give an order directing it to 5s with the DB-23. So they're going to get an order. And then 5s can direct it to Bad Batch. So Bad Batch will always get an order. You have a clone trooper infantry squad with Ahsoka and the DB-23. Again, so now you've got the Pierce 2 double rainbow along with an extra 4 black. So 6 black, 2 red, 4 black. Sorry, 6 black. 2 red, 6 black, 2 white. Yeah, really, really, really good. Then you have Boyle, a clone infantry trooper, just another trooper, and protector, so that Boyle can protect the Bad Batch or Fives or Ahsoka. So you've got a lot of named characters in here, a lot of big hitters. You have 3 ARC trooper squads with clone medic and emergency stims, so they're going to be entirely hard to kill, and then an ATRT for 70 points. And yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I wish that I could make the ATRT turn into 2 strike teams, but strike teams are too expensive. And you can't make it an ARF squad because ARFs would be way too expensive for that. Even though they're 66 points, you would have 5 points more to do what you want, but no upgrades. So that kind of sucks. But again, you have 10 activations, lots of medics to help with Boyle or the Bad Batch or with Ahsoka or with Fives. And you're never really giving Ahsoka's clone infantry squad in order. They're going to do really well on their own if they need to, again, because they're just going to have independent dodge all the time and block, so they don't have to be getting an order each time. You can really focus on everyone else getting an order, especially the Bad Batch and Rex. And then Rex being able to contribute his dice into either the Bad Batch or with Ahsoka with his 1 pip. Yeah, and you give the ATRT with the commands here. Synchronized offensive, you give the ATRT an order, which is great because now you have your order control for the ATRT. You give 1 order off of that to Boyle, and then you direct Fives, and then you give it to Bad Batch. Now your only operative has an order, so now your units that are only 1 in each of their ranks have an order, so your only operative, your only support, which leaves just 1 clone infantry squad in the bag, which is good if you need to go with them immediately at some point. 2 commanders, so if you wanted to go with the commander first instead of Rex, you have improvised orders just in case, and then you've got 3 ARC squads. So 10 activations, lots of named characters in this list, so a lot of fun. So that is Ahsoka, and just kind of like a video for her. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe for sure. You'll get more videos just like this. Head on over to the Discord, where you can feel free to get information about even England and the guys over the pond. Especially, I'm sure the entirety of That's No Moon would be extremely happy that we're kind of talking about them. Ollie's doing a great job. Lila's doing a great job and finished 2nd. We've got lots of good stuff in the general chat. Again, the server level will help you to get entered into win in the giveaway. And head on over to the Clan of Shadows Patreon. They're going to get, again, everything on Sunday or Monday. And then the videos come out into the rest of the week. So thank you guys so much. And may the 4th be with you, even though it's no longer the 4th by the time you're watching this. All right. Peace out, guys. Have fun.